Have you ever woken up feeling certain that your dream was more than just your imagination? It was a divine message? You know that unmistakable sensation. Your heart races, your spirit vibrates, and deep within your soul, you sense that you've been touched by something far greater than yourself. You are not alone. God has always chosen powerful and mysterious ways to speak directly to those he calls his chosen ones, and dreams, vivid, unforgettable dreams, are among his favorite channels. But not every dream is equal. Some hold crucial warnings, others are prophetic revelations, and many carry divine instructions. In today's video, I'm about to reveal the 7 extraordinary types of dreams God consistently uses to guide, warn, and empower his chosen ones. By the end, you'll understand clearly which messages the divine is urgently trying to convey to you. Before we dive deeper, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment 99 right now, as this spiritually powerful number signifies your openness to receiving clear divine dreams, unlocking new spiritual dimensions in your life. Ready to discover exactly what God is saying through your dreams? Let's begin. 1. The dream of warning. There are moments when your spirit is too calm, too unaware of the storm gathering around you. That's when God interrupts your sleep, not to frighten you, but to protect you. These are not just dreams. They're spiritual sirens. They shake you awake. They demand your attention. And if you are truly a chosen one, you've felt this before. A sudden nightmare, a mysterious symbol, a vivid scene that seemed to scream, "Watch out." Not everyone is who they appear to be. Something is coming. God does not leave his warriors unarmed. He sees the traps that others are setting. He knows the fake friends who smile by day and curse you by night. He sees the spiritual assassins working in silence, trying to delay your purpose, distort your identity, or dismantle your peace. And so, he warns you. Sometimes it's a person in your dream whose face is blurred or shadowed. But you wake up feeling exposed, anxious, unsafe. Other times you see symbols, snakes, falling buildings, a car speeding toward you. You may not fully understand the imagery, but your soul understands the urgency. It's God shaking the veil. Do you remember when Joseph, in the Bible, received a warning dream about King Herod's plot to kill Jesus? That wasn't just a message. It was a life-saving intervention. God sent an angel through a dream with one single purpose: protect the destiny. And chosen one, your destiny is no less guarded. Because when you carry divine purpose, you become a threat. Not just to humans, but to spiritual systems. Your obedience activates legacies. Your light exposes agendas. And so the enemy plans. But God always warns first. This kind of dream doesn't just inform you. It tests you. Will you listen? Will you slow down, pray, and discern? Or will you ignore it, thinking it was just a bad night? Here's the truth no one talks about. Most betrayals are felt in the spirit before they're seen in the flesh. Most spiritual attacks are whispered in dreams before they ever appear in reality. But only the awakened ones, only the chosen, have the sensitivity to catch the signal and act. So if you've ever had a dream that felt like a mysterious alert, one that made you question someone, cancel a plan, or pray harder for protection, understand this. You weren't being paranoid. You were being protected. But here's where it gets deeper. Some of these dreams come disguised. They won't always be terrifying. Sometimes they'll appear normal, peaceful even. But one detail will be off. A smile that feels fake. A door that shouldn't open. A familiar place that suddenly feels unfamiliar. That's not your imagination. That's the spirit highlighting the hidden. And right when you think you've figured it all out, a new layer appears. Because what if the warning isn't about what's coming from others, but about something inside you? Are you being warned about your own choices, about your delay in obedience, about your compromise? The dream of warning isn't always external. Sometimes God is calling you out before you sabotage what He's building in you. Now pause. and ask yourself, what did your last unsettling dream really mean? And what if ignoring it is the very reason the next door hasn't opened? Take a breath. Because the next dream we're about to explore doesn't just warn you, it shows you a future that hasn't happened yet. But it's already waiting for you. Stay with me. 2. The dream of prophetic revelation. There is a different kind of dream, a dream that doesn't warn, but reveals. It doesn't shout danger, it whispers destiny. These dreams come wrapped in mystery, but they carry the weight of eternity. When you wake up, your heart knows. This wasn't random. This was a glimpse of something sacred, something ahead. You didn't just dream the future, you were invited into it. Prophetic dreams are not fantasies. They are divine previews, spiritual blueprints coded in symbolism, emotion, and supernatural insight. When God gives a chosen one a prophetic dream, He's not just showing what's possible. He's declaring, this will happen if you remain faithful. Think of Joseph in Genesis 37, a young man with no throne, no title, no influence. Yet he dreamed of standing above his brothers, of a future where even the sun and moon bowed to him. At the time, it made no sense. In fact, it caused division, jealousy, isolation. But years later, every part of that dream came true, down to the detail. Why? Because prophetic dreams don't care about your current status. They speak to your spiritual rank. They bypass where you are and point directly to where God has already positioned you in the unseen realm. And here's the deeper truth. Most chosen ones receive these dreams before the warfare begins. Why? Because God is giving you a vision to hold on to in the storm, a spiritual photograph of the end, so that when the betrayal hits, when the delay tests you, when you're thrown into a pit of doubt, you remember what He showed you in the night. Prophetic dreams come with emotion, not just what you saw, but what you felt. You may have seen yourself speaking to thousands, healing others, walking through a golden door. Or maybe you felt a sudden wave of royalty, peace, or unimaginable joy in a place you've never been. That was more than just a dream. That was the echo of your calling. But beware, because not everyone will believe what you've seen. Prophetic dreams can isolate the chosen. People will mock what they don't understand. They'll try to shrink what God showed you, because it threatens the limits of their own thinking. But remember this, when God gives you a revelation, it's not for validation, it's for preparation. And sometimes, the revelation isn't about you at all. It may be about your family, your future children, a coming shift in the spiritual atmosphere, a new season, a global event. You may be shown something you won't understand until months or even years later. That's why God chose you, because He can trust you with mysteries not yet revealed to the world. So if you've ever awakened with a dream so vivid it stayed with you for days, if you've ever journaled a vision you couldn't explain but couldn't forget, if you've ever cried because the dream felt too real to be fake, you've tasted the prophetic. And yet, what if the next dream doesn't just reveal your future? What if it reveals a divine assignment that must be answered now? Stay tuned. Because the next kind of dream doesn't just inform you, it commissions you. 3. The dream of divine instruction. Sometimes God doesn't come to warn you. He doesn't come to show you the future. He comes to instruct you. These dreams don't come with explosions or chaos. They come with clarity, with direction, with an unmistakable sense that the voice in your dream wasn't yours, it was His. When God gives divine instruction through a dream, He bypasses every voice of confusion around you. He doesn't need a board meeting. He doesn't require the approval of your family or the confirmation of your friends. He speaks straight to your spirit, pure, focused, and undeniable. You may hear a single phrase that repeats like thunder, "Move now." You may be shown a door, a person, a path, and know instantly, this is what I must do. Think of Solomon in 1 Kings 3. The young king didn't ask for riches or revenge. He asked for wisdom, and God came to him in a dream and gave him exactly what he needed to rule with divine insight. That dream wasn't poetic, it was strategic. And God still speaks this way to his chosen. Maybe you've been praying for confirmation, whether to stay or leave, to speak or be silent, to start or let go. Then suddenly, a dream comes. Not vague, not abstract, but clear. And somehow, when you wake up, you know exactly what must shift. That is divine instruction in action. But here's the mystery most people miss. God doesn't only instruct in big dramatic moments. He can use the smallest detail in a dream, a number, a location, a repeated object, to reveal a massive pivot in your life. It's like he hides keys inside your sleep, waiting for the spiritually alert to grab them. But these dreams also test something sacred: obedience. Because God will never give you further instruction until you act on the first one. So, the question becomes, are you listening to respond, or just listening to feel spiritual? Instructional dreams carry weight. If you ignore them, you risk delay. If you act on them, you unlock momentum. And the timing is critical. God will often send these dreams at a crossroads moment, when one wrong turn could cost years, and one act of obedience could launch a new dimension. Chosen one. You don't have the luxury of casual decision-making. Your life is too strategic, too encoded with impact. That's why God sometimes speaks only when everything around you is quiet, when you're asleep. Because in your silence, He plants the next step. So, if you've been waking up with dreams that feel like commands, if a specific word, direction, or scenario keeps repeating in your sleep, don't brush it off. That's divine instruction. And it's not just for your benefit. It's for the lives, legacies, and breakthroughs that are waiting on the other side of your obedience. But now, we go deeper. Because the next dream God gives you isn't just about where you're going. It's about who you're becoming. 4. The dream of spiritual awakening. There comes a moment when God decides, it's time. Time for you to stop living beneath your power. Time to wake up to who you really are in the Spirit. And so, He comes to you in a dream, not to give you something, but to activate what's already inside of you. These are not ordinary dreams. They shake the core of your identity. They leave you wide-eyed in the dark, breathless, not because something chased you, but because something called you. This is the dream of spiritual awakening. The moment your soul hears its true name for the first time. Think of Jacob, lying alone in the wilderness, running from his past. He has no temple, no title, no one to impress. And yet, in the middle of nowhere, God opens the heavens. He sees a ladder reaching into eternity, angels ascending and descending, a gateway between dimensions. And in that moment, Jacob realizes, I was never alone. I've been marked, and this ground is holy. That's what spiritual awakening feels like. You're not chasing purpose, it collides with you. Maybe you've dreamed of light flooding a dark room, or hands being placed on you, or hearing your name spoken by a voice you've never heard, but somehow recognize. These are not dreams you forget. They tattoo your spirit. They open doors inside your mind that will never close again. And here's where it gets supernatural. Some awakenings in dreams are tied to spiritual gifts, gifts you didn't even know you had. You wake up suddenly understanding things you've never studied. You begin to discern lies without evidence. You feel emotions that aren't yours because your empathy has been activated. You speak with boldness that isn't learned, it's inherited. That's not just evolution, that's activation, and it changes everything. Because once you awaken, you can't go back to sleep. You can't pretend not to see. You can't keep living like someone who's unaware of the fire they carry. But with awakening comes responsibility. God doesn't awaken you for entertainment. He does it because the world needs the you that you've been suppressing. He does it because hell fears your full awareness. Because the moment you know who you are, the chains break, the cycles end, the assignment begins. So if you've had dreams where you're flying, healing, unlocking, ascending, or being anointed, if you've woken up and couldn't stop crying, not from fear, but from recognition, it's because heaven is announcing, you're ready now. Wake up, seer. Wake up, warrior. Wake up, healer. Wake up, prophet. But what happens next is even more personal, because the next dream isn't about activation or instruction. It's about the battle behind the scenes, where God doesn't just reveal a gift, He becomes your shield. 5. The dream of protection and deliverance. Sometimes the battle begins while you sleep, but before the attack reaches your doorstep, heaven moves first. This is the dream of protection and deliverance. The sacred moment when God steps into your dream, not to speak, but to shield, to intercept what was meant to break you, to cancel what was designed to stop you. These dreams often feel like something almost happened. A shadow chased you but never caught you. You were falling, but never hit the ground. A door slammed shut just before danger entered. And you wake up, shaken but safe. That's not luck. That's divine intervention in real time. In Matthew 2:13, Joseph receives a dream, an angel warning him to flee with Mary and the infant Jesus. Why? Because Herod was coming to kill. But God didn't just alert him, He delivered them through a dream. The enemy had a plan, but heaven had a faster one. And if you're a chosen one, you need to know. These kinds of dreams are not rare. They are your inheritance. Because when you carry divine assignment, you also carry divine insurance. The truth is, some of the worst attacks against your life never made it past your dreams. You think you just had a nightmare? No, your spirit was in warfare, and God stood between you and the blow. Sometimes He sends angels. Sometimes He appears Himself. Sometimes the only thing you remember is a name being spoken, a light exploding, a presence so fierce, so holy, that every dark force had to flee. Those moments are not just memories, they are evidence. Evidence that even in your most vulnerable state, unaware, defenseless, asleep, God is on high alert for you. His eyes never close, His protection never slips. And when darkness thinks it's found the perfect opening, He invades your dream to declare, not this one, not now, not ever. And here's the part that humbles you. You didn't earn that protection. You didn't fight for it. You didn't even see the attack coming. But God saw everything, and He moved for you. Because when you are chosen, your life is not yours alone. It's part of a divine chessboard, and God is always 10 moves ahead of the enemy. So if you've ever had a dream where something tried to reach you but couldn't, if you've seen yourself being pulled out of a trap, covered by a force you couldn't explain, if you've woken up knowing, without question, that something unseen protected you, then hear this. You're not just lucky. You're guarded. You're watched. You're sealed. But what if the next dream goes beyond protection? What if it confirms that your discernment was never a coincidence? That what you felt about a situation was right all along? Because what comes next is the dream of confirmation. And it doesn't whisper. It proves. 6. The dream of confirmation. There's a kind of inner battle that only the chosen ones understand. It's not always between good and evil. It's between what you feel and what you fear, between the voice of God and the echo of doubt. You've prayed. You've fasted. You've begged heaven for clarity. And then, when your heart is finally too tired to keep wrestling, the answer comes. Not through a voice, but through a dream. This is the dream of confirmation, when God shows you, without a doubt, that your intuition was correct, your discernment was divine, and your next move has already been blessed. In Judges 7, Gideon, though called anointed, and chosen, still questioned if he was truly the one God wanted. But God, knowing his fragile faith, gave him a dream of confirmation. A soldier's dream revealed Gideon's victory before the battle even began. That's what these dreams do. They settle the war inside you before the war outside even starts. Maybe you've been stuck between two paths. Maybe you've questioned a relationship. Are they for me or against me? Maybe you've wondered, should I walk away or stay and fight? And then, suddenly, the dream comes. You see a person's true nature. You relive a moment, but this time, from God's perspective. You see a door open while another slams shut. Or you simply feel a peace so deep, it drowns every question in your mind. This is not imagination. It's heaven responding to your confusion, not with opinion, but with certainty. And here's the revelation. Confirmation dreams are a gift of acceleration. Because what delays most chosen ones is not attack. It's indecision. When you're unsure, you hesitate, you wait, you second guess. And delay becomes disobedience in disguise. So God, in his mercy, sends confirmation in the language only your soul can hear. Not for validation, but for momentum. He shows you who's real. He shows you which door is yours. He shows you what's been yours all along. But fear made you forget. And sometimes, the confirmation comes in reverse. God shows you what's not aligned, so you can stop trying to resurrect what he already buried. But here's the sacred part. When you receive a dream of confirmation, it's more than an answer, it's a commission. It's God saying, now that you know, move. Now that you've seen, trust. Now that you've felt the confirmation, don't ever doubt it again. Because what's coming next isn't about decisions or discernment. It's about something deeper. Something only the broken-hearted truly understand. A dream that doesn't just speak. It heals. 7. The dream of comfort and healing. Some dreams don't come with messages. They come with presence, not to reveal your future or warn you of danger, but to touch a wound the world cannot see. This is the dream of comfort and healing, a sacred moment where God enters your pain and stays there with you. You don't ask for these dreams. They come after you've broken silently. After the smile you wear for the world fades behind closed doors. After the prayer ends and you're left staring at the ceiling wondering if God is even listening. And then he answers, not with words, not with thunder, but with himself. In these dreams, you may see a light that feels like safety. You may hear your name spoken with a tone that makes your soul exhale. You may be embraced by Jesus himself. No instructions, no mission, just pure, overwhelming love. And that love doesn't just soothe you, it rebuilds you. These are the dreams that make grown warriors cry. Because in a world that demands your strength, God shows up to remind you that it's okay to feel, that even chosen ones need healing too. Think of those who've had visions of Jesus reaching out, wiping away their tears, or who found themselves weeping in a dream, only to be wrapped in warmth they couldn't explain. These aren't emotional illusions. They are divine encounters, surgical in the spirit, surgical in the soul. Because healing isn't always dramatic. Sometimes, it's a quiet moment where the Father simply says, I saw what they did to you. I was there when they left. I heard every unspoken cry, and I'm not letting you carry it alone. And here's the revelation most people miss. The enemy doesn't just attack your calling. He attacks your capacity to trust again. He wants the pain to harden you. He wants you numb, guarded, disconnected from your own heart. But God refuses to let you shut down. So he visits you where no one else can reach, in the deepest part of your sleep, where no mask can survive. And he restores you, not just so you can function, but so you can feel fully again. Because your calling doesn't require just power. It requires wholeness. And in these healing dreams, God is not just restoring what was broken. He's making it stronger than it ever was before. So if you've ever woken up in tears, feeling lighter without knowing why, if you've ever dreamed of being hugged by a light so pure it made your chest ache, if you've ever felt peace in your sleep that you couldn't find in your waking hours, then understand this. That wasn't your imagination. That was your Creator comforting His creation. But now, after all the dreams, the warnings, the revelations, the awakenings, the healing, one question remains. Why you? Why are you the one receiving these divine messages? The final revelation is coming, and it will change the way you see your entire journey, forever. You were never just dreaming. You were never just sleeping. Every image, every whisper, every moment in those visions, it was divine intelligence, tailored to your spirit, coded for your destiny, sealed with heaven's authority. Chosen one. These weren't coincidences. They were calls from eternity. God has been speaking to you, guiding you, warning you, awakening you, because your mission requires more than logic. It requires revelation. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. You are receiving classified information from the throne of God, delivered through dreams because only your spirit was ready to hear it. And now that you know, you can't go back to sleep. Every time you close your eyes, heaven may speak. Every dream might carry an instruction,